and good evening. We bring you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Boom Gonzalez.
We give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. I'm Diego Dario. Watch the game live and our past episodes on demand on the Pilipinas Live app for just 99 pesos a month, available for download on Google Play or the App Store.
All right, buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game. We are a couple of hours away from the third game of Gilas Pilipinas at the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023 group stage. And the national team has a tall task against the world number 10, Italy. And joining us tonight to preview this showdown, Diego, is our friend and basketball analyst, Coach Luigi Trillio. Good to see you, Coach.
Hey, Coach.
Good evening, guys. Looking sharp?
Well, ikaw yung pumunta eh.
We had to.
Para sigurado. You are doing the game later on tonight, so it's perfect that we have you here. And I know we are supposed to talk about the matchups because this is going to be a big matchup, our third game. What were you looking for before we get to the specific matchups? What was your categories for classifying these guys?
I'm sure these two teams are going to look for mismatches. What advantage does one team have? Right. Obviously, I was thinking about the first two games that Gilas played. More athletic teams, right? So if you're looking, there's some loopholes that Italy has. You know, I don't think they're athletic. They don't have a rim protector.
Right.
You look at them. I think we got shocked a little bit with Angola to start. So there's certain other things like I think Junmar, right? Fajardo has an advantage. So. There are three matchups that I was talking about.
We'll get to that. So let's start with his favorite matchup,
right?
The guards.
Of course, Coach. Let's just start with the guards. I'm a guard, but you mentioned Scotty Thompson versus Marcos Pisu of Italy. Guards that don't really score a lot, but they do a lot of things inside the court, Coach.
Well, Pisu can explode. He's one of the up-and-coming guards. You know, he had a big game the last game. Right. And before this tournament, he has exploded. But this is a perfect matchup. They both do a lot of things. I think Scotty should be in his element defending this guy. You know, the question with Scotty, he came in, he wasn't really yet in game shape because of his injuries. So his hands are full. I think when you face an Italy team that has lost, they're even harder to play against because it's all out. You know, if Italy had win and they're 2-0 and they're in, sometimes they can let their guard down. So that's a matchup that I think has to be taken importantly, and Scotty has his hands full.
Coach, just a quick follow-up on the guards.
Yeah.
How important are the roles of these point guards in an international game where there's so many adjustments, so many schemes that are happening inside the court?
Well, you saw the Dominican game. You know, Scotty had 5 turnovers, and we still had a chance to win.
Right.
I think the margin of error is very small against a well-coached team. A team that plays together like Italy. So Scotty has to make sure he doesn't turn the ball over, right? And this is one guy where I think he can attack the guard too. So if you look at it, when he faced Angola and he faced Dominican Republic, these guys were a little bit more athletic. I think Scotty also now realizes that we have to pick our spots. So same thing with Jordan Clarkson, right? That we're gonna go into that matchup next.
All right, so we'll talk about that just to underscore what you're saying. Just for the numbers, Pisu, of course, averaging in double figures in terms of the points. As you mentioned, he can score almost 6 assists, 4 rebounds a game, while Scotty Thompson at 2 points, almost 3 rebounds and 3 assists a game. Now, the Jordan Clarkson matchup, and you are matching him up with his Utah Jazz teammate, Simone Fontecchio.
So this is gonna be a key matchup because they're both go-to guys, right? But I think when you look at both teams, the best player on the court is Jordan Clarkson. Fontecchio's great. He's in the NBA. He's a young and upcoming guy. But when it all comes down to, you look at it, if Clarkson's going one-on-one against somebody, he can really score, right? So I'd like to see Jordan aggressive. I'd like him to come out swinging. Even if he misses a few, that's okay. We want the ball in his hands, right? And I think it's going to be important that Scotty pushes the pace to help him out because we want Clarkson in the open floor. And
or
again,
whoever the guard is.
Whoever the guard is. And I think that the last game, we got punished in the boards. So I'm sure we're going to do a better job of rebounding. Now, once we rebound, we can't set. We've got to push the ball back, and I think this will make it easier for Jordan because once Jordan catches it on the open court, he doesn't have lines behind him defending. And I think it gets harder where Jordan has to dribble the ball, and then it's set, and then nobody touches the ball. So sometimes good defense, obviously a lot of things have to happen, but the opportunities when we push the ball and we get Clarkson out there, he'll have an easier time. Plus, I think Jordan has to see he's good enough where he can score and pick his spots, but in this game, there's no rim protector like the last game. So,
or the last two, for that matter.
The last two. So he take his threes, take his mid-range, but once in a while, he can get to the cup.
And those fast break opportunities for sure is like it makes the game more exciting, especially for the Filipino fans. You get the crowd going as well. But we've been talking about Simone Fontecchio even before the game, before the FIBA World Cup started. But you know, for the fans that are wondering, how does he play exactly, and what are we, looking forward to when the game starts?
Yeah, because that's a 16-point average also.
You look at Italy, the talent level is there. The other two guys who made the NBA are not at the level now of Fontecchio. But if there's somebody that they needed to give the ball to score, it's him, right? I think that's one way of looking at it. Obviously, also, we'll be moving on to the bigs later on, but the bigs have an important role to play because it's pin downs, it's ball screens.
Right,
so
right.
Those matchups later as we progress and we talk about, it's going to be key. But again, in games like this where it's tight, you need somebody to bail you out. So I think it's Clarkson for us, and obviously the two guards you mentioned, Fontecchio.
Yeah.
These are the other ones.
Okay, let's talk about the big matchup now. Since you mentioned Junmar Fajardo earlier, Nicola Meli will be the matchup that you chose beyond the numbers. And Fajardo has been great. He's been solid. He has actually exceeded some people's expectations here in this FIBA World Basketball Cup 2023. How crucial is this matchup?
I think Junmar's been playing awesome. It's nice to see him healthy.
So
good shape,
If I were him,
battling.
You've got for the next 40 years before this happens again. And I think he's on point, he's sharp, he's ready. I don't think they have a big that can size up and defend him one-on-one. With all due respect to the two bigs of Italy, Meli's he's an experienced guy, he's tough, but he's 6'9". So if you're guarding one-on-one, Junmar has a fighting chance. And I think to relieve the pressure of other guys, you have to find points of attack, right? I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if Jordan sees that. Because who was guarding Junmar the first two games? You had Fernando.
Right, yes,
and you had
the
Towns.
other game, yeah.
So he's getting drop passes, right? And he was still productive, right? But this time it's different. You can have a different point of attack. And with Junmar with the ball, sometimes you forget the other guys on the other side. So, the two guards are important. But again, you're facing a team that's 10th. They're so good. Everything's on the line for them. Aside from Jordan and Scotty, Junmar has to show up.
Well, Coach, talking about Junmar Fajardo, we're not really used to seeing Junmar getting a lot of touches, getting a lot of burn in the international stage because we had a big naturalized player before in Andre Blatch. But now that Junmar is trying to show what he really can do in the international stage, do you think he's gonna get more touches in terms of offense, getting his buckets?
They have certain guys we can attack. So I think that has to be, what are your points of attack for the game? I think we've got to control the rebounds. You've got to push and get that element of surprise so they cannot settle. Because one thing Italy does, they don't have the athleticism shot blockers, but they're very decent defending one-on-one, moving their feet.
Correct.
Lateral-wise, right? So Junmar is going to be key in terms of how we can attack those guys as well. We'll move on to Edu, Kai, and those guys. But I think what's the strength of Junmar? He's dominant. He's inside. So that may be an option. And, in fairness to Junmar, he is playing like he's a rookie. It's so nice to watch.
I love it. I love it.
If there's
Everyone's
one dimmer
loving
with the two games, you're looking for bright spots, right? Junmar is a bright spot.
Oh, definitely.
All right, now, Coach, we talked about Italy, but we'll still have you after the break. We shift from the key matchups to the must-watch players of Gilas Pilipinas and their upcoming bout against Italy. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game. Welcome back, you're still watching the game. We continue our preview of the Philippines versus Italy matchup set in a few hours, and we're still joined by basketball analyst and my coach, Coach Luigi Trilio. Coach, let's talk about our team. We're all rooting for Gilas. It's going to be a big game for them. You listed down some players that to watch out for in this ball game, and let's start it off with AJ Edu, one of the, for me, standouts for Gilas Pilipinas in this
Breakout,
run.
right?
Yeah,
Breakout game.
Well,
Breakout,
a game like this, you always look at the guys who get the minutes. So there'll be some guys there I feel like Coach Chot and the coaching staff will use, but I don't think they're going to veer away from the guys who get the minutes. And Edu has been a revelation for us. He's one of the guys who can switch out and defend the guards and the bigs. He's one guy who tracks the rebound well. I mean, I've heard in practices that he's one guy that can come and get rebounds. So when you look at Angola, what was one thing we didn't do well is we didn't rebound the ball well. Angola had a lot of offensive rebounds. And for us to give Clarkson some opportunities to run the break, we're going to have to defend and finish the defense by getting the rebounds. So Edu's versatile. He can switch out. He can do so many things. He's a lock for me in terms of the rotation with Junmar. Obviously, we're not going to talk about, I didn't expound on Japet Aguilar and Kai Soto, but those guys are going to be important too.
Well, you mentioned Kai. And you mentioned minutes. He got more minutes in that second game as opposed to the first game. AJ Edu, by the way, also productive, not just rebounding, 7 points, 9 points in the 2 games respectively. Kai Soto, your impressions in that second game against Angola, and then your expectations here in this game tonight.
Great for Kai. He came out, he scored. I think Kai is one of those bigs that can score, can get rebounds. The problem in this game I see for Kai is the bigs are different. In a sense, I say different because Kai is going to have to defend the 3-point shooting and the guards of Italy.
Right.
So,
Which got him into foul trouble in that first game, right? Yeah.
So if you're looking at him, the one thing he should do well is maybe the coaching staff will bring him in with the right people are inside to go against. Well, he's got to. Hopefully, we can see some physicality with him. No layup rule. We want him to play with a bit more spirit. Kai is known when he's doing well when he scores. So if he can get his game going and he can score, you always focus on your strengths. That's one thing. But without a doubt, guys, if you have Junmar and Edu, one more big has to come up. And this is just not, we talk about the matchups which are important, but this is going to take everybody playing well.
Of course.
And everybody's got to contribute. So Kai's got to come in, and I'm sure he knows. He's been around. Kai's been at the world stage.
Right.
If he gets his time inside, I'm sure he's going to learn that Coach Chot, if he doesn't do well, he's going to be taken out because the margin of error is small.
Correct.
So you've got to be ready in there. And if you're Kai Soto, you want that. You want that, you want to feel that, and we're hoping for the best for him.
And talking about contributions, Coach, and of course, trying to win, doing winning plays, Dwight Ramos is also that guy for Gilas Pilipinas. He's done great things on both ends, not just offensively but defensively, Coach. What can you see with Dwight? You love the detail. You love details when coaching, Coach. What can you see with Dwight Ramos inside the court?
Dwight is very confident,
right?
And I think he's got that mentality. Well, whether he's not doing well or not doing well, he brings the same approach. He's gonna take that shot, right? But I put Dwight in there with these guys because he is going to get majority of the minutes. And the other guys need help. Clarkson needs help. Scotty needs help. We need our scorers to be ready to shoot. And, he hasn't shot the ball badly like Pogoy. But there are two things. They either let Clarkson, one guy, handle his business and stay home on everybody else, or they're going to make sure that Clarkson doesn't have his way and they're going to leave open guys. So if he gets deep in the lane, Dwight has to be ready. Dwight's got to bring it. He's a big point forward.
Do you think he's been tad bit tentative?
I think it's also realizing that the world is a different vibe. You're playing against the best players in the world, and I think the matchups kind of made him see that it's difficult. At this point, it's difficult. But with that being said, if you're gonna win, Dwight has to be on board. He's got to be sharp. And I'm not only talking about making his shots. You defend with 5 guys playing defense. So even if 2 guys are in the pick and roll, you see if they're gonna do some defensive schemes and 1 guy is not there, that's gonna be a breakdown, right? So I've said, Edu, we put Kai, we put Dwight,
Right.
because they're getting majority of the minutes.
You're right. You're
And
right.
it's also
I hope he lets it fly
hopefully,
tonight.
hopefully.
I hope
Let's
he
go,
lets
Dwight.
it fly
Yeah,
tonight.
we're all rooting for him. And
Yeah.
also, I kind of noticed that, Clarkson is giving Dwight Ramos, all the confidence. He's been finding
trusts him. He
Yeah,
trusts
it
him.
looks like he trusts him. But let's talk about one more shooter, coach of Gilas Pilipinas. Of course, the designated sniper, R.R. Pogoy. He had 6 points in the first game, 8 points in the second. Coach, how crucial will R.R. Pogoy be in this matchup?
Well, Pogoy's been there. He's been there in 2019.
Right.
He's seen it, at its worst. And right now we're here. You want to let him come out swinging. I think if you look at it, he's probably one of the guys, if he really gets hot, who are shooters in our team. So you can argue that he's one of the best there, right? And Pogoy has a game where he can post up, he can do things. But aside from Pogoy, we didn't mention CJ Perez.
Okay,
right?
then go ahead.
I think this is one game where we'll need CJ's athleticism also. And, CJ did well. He did well if those guys, whoever he puts in, Bando, CJ, if they can stretch their minutes and 8-10, that'll be huge for Clarkson. That'll be huge for Scotty. That'll be huge for Dwight. So I think at this point, we got to get over these two. We can't focus about, the percentage or, winning by 13 and stuff.
Right,
you just want to
right,
play
right.
the possession. I'm sure the coaching staff's going to get them ready. And if I'm looking at it, it's such an opportunity for our team to play in front of our crowd.
It's a crucial game, and obviously, yes, we're not going to concentrate on margins and all that.
Right.
But as we talked about off the air earlier, before we go on the air, we hope we shoot the lights out tonight.
Hopefully.
At the very least.
Everyone's hoping
and then
for that.
defend with our lives.
I'd love to be in that Coliseum, but we wish them well. We're praying
Yes,
and nothing.
definitely.
There's nothing to be ashamed of. Put it all out there, guys.
We will be
I think
praying
so.
for them. Coach, as usual, maraming salamat. Have fun tonight.
Salamat.
Thank you,
Calling the game. In the meantime, after the break, we'll get the latest from the Smart Araneta Coliseum, where Gilas Pilipinas is set to face Italy. Keep it right here. You're watching the game. Welcome back. You're still watching the game. Gilas Pilipinas is determined to punch their way into the second round of the FIBA World Cup as they face Group A favorite Italy tonight at 8 p.m. Now let's check in with Pablo del Rosario live from the Smart Araneta Coliseum this time. Pao, good evening.
Hey,
And,
Pao.
Okay, we talked about a lot of things, Pao, with Coach Luigi in terms of matchups and who to look out for. He touched a little bit on margins and scenarios. Why don't we throw that to you as our first question, Pao? For people who don't know, What has got to happen?
Well, the first thing that has to happen is that Angola needs to lose to the Dominican Republic in the game that's happening right now.
Okay.
At the moment, the Dominican Republic leads Angola by 2 points with around 2 minutes left here in the fourth quarter. So it's a very tight game and a close game. Now, should that happen, the Philippines need to beat Italy by 13 points to get over the goal difference, the point difference, in order to qualify for the second round without any hitches. Now, I just need to emphasize that yung goal natin dito is to end up in the Olympics. We need to end up as the top-ranked Asian country. So, even if you don't win today, if you don't win by 13 points today, there's still an opportunity for the Philippines to make it to the Olympics should they finish above Japan, who's playing Australia right now.
Right. So we're fighting for multiple things here, multiple goals. Talking about Gilas Pilipinas, but how about the mood there in Araneta? Pao, of course, the fans are excited. We're all excited to see Gilas play once again.
You know, Jegs, it's really nice because I was going around the Smart Araneta Coliseum and I've lost count of how many people have asked me, oh, kaya ba natin, kaya ba ng Gilas Pilipinas? So there is a mood here wherein people are hopeful, we're curious to see what could happen. Of course, we have to be really optimistic to get a good result against Italy, the result that we do need in particular. Kaya it's a nice place here. It's a nice situation to be in terms of the mood. And I was talking to some of the organizers, and they actually do expect a bigger crowd even than the Gilas Angola game. So it should be an interesting one here, Greg.
Which was a little over 12,000 the last time out, no? So we're expecting a bigger one tonight. Okay, the unfortunate part, Paul, let's talk basketball as a last question. Italy is coming from a loss. Does that concern you personally?
Personally, I think the pride of Italy is a bit hurt given the results that they've had so far. So that could work in their favor in the sense that they want to come out swinging. Now, for Gilas Pilipinas, they understand the situation they're coming from. So looking at that, I wouldn't say I'd be worried because of that. I'll be more worried because of the pedigree of shooting that they do have. They have shot the ball exponentially better since that game in the Philippine arena. So the Philippines needs to find different ways to go out and make sure that they can somewhat slow down the offense that Italy can bring. Boom.
Well, Pao, thank you so much. So we're all excited to watch the game and cheer for our Gilas Pilipinas. And of course, you can catch the showdown between Gilas Pilipinas and world number 10, Italy, tonight at 8 p.m. live on Pilipinas Live, One Sports and One Sports Plus. Thank you for joining us. I'm Diego Dario.
Catch us weeknights here on One News and on the Pilipinas Live app where you can watch us live and our past episodes on demand for just 99 pesos a month. Available for download on Google Play or the App Store. I'm Boom Gonzalez. Laban Pilipinas! And this has been The Game.